Once again, thank you for choosing Momentum Master. Today we're going to go over Momentum Master A and the features contained within and how to instantiate it. First, you're going to need a TradingView account. If you don't know what TradingView is, you go to tradingview.com and go to the uh, billing section to choose your plan. I have the highest level plan currently, so it doesn't show, but there is a free option that you can choose, and everything works with the free option. However, I recommend getting the pro version because you'll be able to instantiate 5 different indicators and it'd be accessible to multiple time intervals. Uh, yeah, so that's the best of the options because you'll want to have more of our 3 indicators. You'll want to have all 3 of them instantiated. And although the free account will let you get 3 free, I believe, so you'll be able to instantiate all 3 of our indicators. It'll just allow you to have more versatility, in my humble opinion. Anyway, let's take a look at Momentum Master A. It's quite interesting. Since the last video, we had another rocket print, so we can watch this play out and see how this works with A in tandem. So we went over the ultimate already, so this is not this video. Go to the ultimate video if you want to see how that works. So we're going to turn off the history for this so it's not so cluttered and look at A. How do we instantiate A? Well, you go to the indicators button up here at the top left and go down to invite only scripts. And once you've been granted access, you'll see Momentum Master A, B, and Ultimate in your uh, indicators invite only area. So you click Momentum Master A and it will appear on the top left over here. So you have the eyeball to turn it on and off, and you have the gears option to see the settings and some other more options. But basically, we're going to just go over the gear settings. So right off the bat, you have an order block finder. This can be used to see where different support and resistance areas are. I already marked it off on my chart, but you see where we bounced with the rocket ship. The order block was drawn for you, and that's in the time frame you're in. Based off the chart, you can change that to show a higher time frame if you wish. And yeah, you can. I wouldn't mess with any of this unless you're highly understanding of what this is. But just go ahead and I'll leave that off for now. But well, actually, no, let's just go take a look at where it draws the support and resistance. So based off the pivots and the previous consolidation zones, it will draw these potential resistance points if this rocket plays out to the future. You can use that to project your take profit regions, for example. Of course, you can use other factors. All of this stuff is confluence with an already pre-existing system that you should have. So let's go ahead and look at that. We can turn that off. It's a very nice feature and move on down the line. The Keltner channels. The Keltner channels are a tighter Bollinger Band which uses price action, which can also indicate incoming moves based off the tightness and also show where exhaustion occurs. It's a much more frugal way to look at price action than a Bollinger Band, and this one is set off of by default on volume weighted moving averages. You're going to hear the term volume weighted moving averages a lot because this is going to show you where potential moves are coming based off volume coming in. Long story short, once you buy the indicator, you'll get access to the Discord and get to ask these questions why this occurs once you have this. But we're just going over the features right now, not why we chose these features. But anyway, it's a better than a Bollinger Band. Anyway, let's take that off. Very nice to see because it'll show you where it fatigues. Let's just go and see that. So you'd see where when you're outside of the Keltner channel, you're likely to come back into it or at least retest the top of it. So you should take profit immediately there and then see when you're outside of it here, then you're going to come back. With the other confluence of the things we went over with the ultimate, it would have been given you a nice entry point for a short or scale out of your long. So let's turn that off. Once again, these are confluences, so you don't need to leave them on all the time. The higher high and lower low look back will be left on by default. And what is that? This is the This is the green line here, right here, and the red line here. Okay, so when you're making a lower low as you did with this, with these, it'll start making these triangles telling you you've made a lower low, you've made a lower low, you've made a higher high, you've made a higher high. And if you've made a higher high, you might want to not consider entering a short just yet and try to wait till you don't have that higher high fatigue. And this is based off of a look back on the hourly time frame. So if you go to a higher time frame, that higher high and lower low is going to be calculated, and it changes based off the look back. So it started to lower and test whether it was worthy of that. So you haven't made a lower low on the 4-hour time frame until you get to this point here. So it saves you the trouble of having to look back where that lower low exists. So on the 4-hour time frame, the lower low would be here, the higher high would be here. So this helps you maintain levels to look at for zones of interest. For if you were going to have a short continuing down, you might go down to this region. Once again, you might not want to have this on all the time, but it's just good to see where things are. And then the trend, now we're getting into the meat of the matter, which is the trend cloud and the trend baselines and the adaptive trend baselines. The baseline is basically, in music production, you have the kick drum, and then the bass goes on top of the kick, and then you have all the synths and melodies and vocals that go on like a pyramid on top. So the bass line is literally that. It's the bottom. It's your base of price action. So first, you're going to want to look at the trend cloud, and when the trend cloud gets thin, potential reversal is in. So as you watch this trend cloud thinning on the 4-hour time frame, you're starting to get a thin here. It's starting to get thin, but it's thickening up a little bit. And this trend cloud is a volume weighted moving average Heiking-Ashi formula, which factors volume, so you don't have to think about that. And it will show you when the volume starts to wane, even though you could tell basically by things dropping. But when you see, for example, it retests off of the volume weighted moving average cloud, the trend cloud, it normally comes back to test it and then sends it out from there. Now this is the trend cloud on the 4-hour, so we're going to go to the hourly. This is where it's going to start to make sense. So you'll see the trend cloud here starting to shift, and here starting to shift, starting to get thin. Potential trend reversal is in. They go back, retest, and gone. So the hourly time frame and below is where you start to see this trend cloud purpose. Even here, if you had scaled out of, if you had gotten into the short, you could have looked for the continuation based off this thinning right here. Okay. And then you would have had a retest of that again here. So the factoring of this trend cloud was back tested and proven to be true, and that's why it likes to come up to this and test continually. So where are we now with this trend cloud? Where we're resting right on it and it's starting to get thin. Potential trend reversal is in. We had the rocket ship as well. We're getting a little bit of a struggle there, but it's the purple, which is a selling volume, is starting to thin. So we could see a bounce up from this region based off of that. So what this does is gives you the ultimate, coupled with the ultimate signals, you'll get some health of your trade going well or not so well based off this cloud. So this cloud is trend cloud is very, very nice to see confluence. And if you go to the 15-minute here, we're going to look at something which is the trend baseline 1 and 2. Now, let me turn off the ultimate really quick. So the trend baseline 1 and 2. So that's these fuchsia and teal lines here. The trend baseline 1 sticks to price more finely, and the trend baseline 2 is a thicker one which has more wiggle room. Now you could even, this is a scalper's dream because what you're going to be able to do is get that perfect entry point using this. So using the trend cloud and the other signals here, you're going to see where it starts to stick to the price, and when these get above the candles, that's when you want to consider exiting out of a long and then looking for a re-entry point when they're beneath the candles like here. Okay, and then it will hide the price up, and then when you start to see them get above the price, that's when you want to get out. So when coupled with the thinning trend cloud and the retest of the trend cloud, you can use these quite effectively. So these crossovers on the baselines will be your monitor of price action. And as you see here, it comes up, bounces off the baselines, and gets the trend cloud. And then when it gets up to here and you start to see it not being able to stay above the baseline, that's when you consider closing your trade right about here, had you entered off of this. Okay. So let's go to a higher time frame and look at the baselines from the higher time frame, the crossovers. These crossovers will give you they are leading moving averages. There's not many leading moving averages out there, but as you see, when this started to cross here, that's your signal for the short to play out on that higher time frame. And sure enough, it never returned. When you get that crossover on the 4-hour, you're going to have a upside momentum. Same thing here. You had a crossover on the 4-hour, and boom, you went up. Crossover, went up. Cross down, went down. Okay. So we're starting to get a little bit of a crossover on the 4-hour. So that suggests that we're going to have some sort of double bottom. Based off momentum and the shifts in the momentum. And you're seeing these baselines very nicely beneath the candles now. So you're starting to see them as baselines of support. And the 4-hour candle just closed, which means that the stochastic has reset a little bit. So we've given back a little bit of the stochastic. And let's go to the hourly one more time. And so you see it was coming up. Now it's getting above on the hourly. The hourly is starting to come down. The hourly has reset. And you're going to the 15. Thinning cloud as well. You're still seeing a thick cloud on the 15-minute. And price action is wanting to get the baseline beneath it. Can the baseline cup it? Let's go to the 5-minute. Looks like the baseline, you're getting your rocket ships on the ultimate entry, and you're starting to get the baseline beneath that. So this could be a active long double bottom scalp entry right here. It needs to burst through this cloud and start to thin this cloud up, and these baselines need to hold. So you're seeing the first level of support on the 5-minute with this baseline here. It's starting to close above the baseline, so you could look at it in that respect. And we haven't made a lower low based off the lower low look back, so you haven't made a lower low, and you're getting this signal. So this would be the thing with the confluence to look for a long, potentially. And the divergence was kicked in here, so it triggered a stop loss hunt. So we could see a potential reversal here. We'll just stick with it a little bit and see how it plays out. So you just flip between the time frames and everything gets updated accordingly. So you can see how the baselines look on these lower time frames, and it can give you the confluence you need to enter a long or short or take profit on your short. And so that is the baselines and the trend cloud. As you see, they're very powerful in conjunction with one another. You see them bounce off it with support, fall through it, bearish retest, continuation to the downside. So we have to get above this trend cloud. And this, in the ultimate strategy, we had the super trend shift. So all these things together work in conjunction with one another. So let's look at that. That's the trend baselines, and the last one is the adaptive trend baseline. So what is this adaptive trend baseline? Well, let's take a look at it. The adaptive trend baseline is here, this little orange guy. And as you see, you retest the adaptive trend baseline and head up. So this is a key level of support or resistance, and this right now we are beneath it, so we're probably going to revert back to at least test it before we continue back down. So these hourly adaptive trend baselines give you one more level. So your first levels are your trend baseline 1 and 2, and then you have the adaptive trend baseline, which is your third leg in the journey. So this changes according to the time frame. So this is showing you here, and this is why we had the breakdown at that adaptive trend baseline here. You went above it and dropped right through. And that's where the move would have been had, right at the baseline. So the baseline is a mean reversion technique which reverts back to this region. So all of these things are auto drawn on your chart, and you can use them with your system and confluences to find your entry points and take profit zones. Very, very useful. You don't really need to change the value, but if you find something more valuable in it, you're more than welcome to adjust it. All of these are adjustable, so it's up to you to do that. And then lastly, when you want to find an entry, you turn on the trailing stop loss. And this will tell you where to put your stop loss. It'll say if you entered long, that your stop loss on the 15-minute time frame would be here. If you're looking at a longer trade, if you want a 4-hour trade out of this, it's going to adjust that too, saying your stop loss on a longer time frame should be below here, and it will adjust your stop loss accordingly. And the ATR for that, the average true range of that stop loss calculation, is back testable as well. You can adjust it. I wouldn't adjust the settings if you're new, but you're welcome to do that. And you can back test these too. You can see, oh, it said it there. Did it hit that stop loss? No, it didn't. You can say, okay, I set along here and then stop loss down here. It didn't hit that stop loss. So these stop loss calculator, all of these things are nice features within. And that's it for the Momentum Master A. Let's just see how it plays out. We'll just leave it sitting for a little bit and see how this works. And you can see how these print in real time. We're getting it hourly. We got an hourly rocket ship, and we're getting 4 time frames oversold right now. And yeah, we could see a bounce right here. Trend cloud is thin. One thing I don't like is the baseline being above price right here like this. This one's trying to get, the first baseline's trying to get beneath it. And let's take a look at the 15-minute. Yeah, we got rejection on the cloud. We're trying to get that support of the baselines. And as you can see, when things start to shift, it shifts pretty quickly and lets you know where these regions would be continued. So if you had entered off the short here and watched them fail on the baseline, you would have seen where your potential move to take profit would be. Like if you wanted to be moving into profit, it shows you where to set your stop loss into profit. And that's about it. I'll leave this running for a couple more minutes and we'll just watch how this plays out in real time. We'll wait till the 15-minute candle close. When the rocket prints, it will show you the stochastic data locked into position at that time. This is not with A though, this is ultimate. But you see how these things work together with one another. They don't compete, they work together. So these systems will interact in a way that hopefully is not too overwhelming. And you see the trend, the thinning cloud, and then potential reversal is in. So this thickness is not good. It shows that it could continue more, although the stochastic data is telling me otherwise. We got the support on the baseline on the 3-minute. This is a good sign here. We got both baselines in our favor on the 3-minute. We could see this surge through the cloud and come up, and this could be your scalp. And this is why it's a scalper's dream, is it gives you signals about it. And this was the alert I received about the oversold as the rocket appeared. So the timing couldn't have been better for making the video to see it play out in real time. Once again, thank you for joining us for Momentum Master. Carpe momentum. Seize the gains. So we've officially got the baselines in our favor, and you see that we're getting above the cloud. So this confluence here is very nice for a long with all of the other stochastic information. This tells you everything is good to go. So then you can shift to another time frame, and you see the next hurdle we have in our path, but we have the baselines in our favor on the 5-minute, and it comes back to retest that, gets bought up, and then we pierce through the cloud and come up. And then when we break this, it's going to shift the trend. When we break this region, this line, it's going to start making the trend reversal on the 5-minute, similar to here. And then that becomes a kind of support to look at, or a stop loss, trailing stop loss. Proof is in the pudding, eh? Proof is in the pudding. Momentum Master. And with 4 more minutes, we will close. Just seeing how the 15-minute closes on this. We got 2 rockets on the 15 too, and it closed on the hourly as a rocket. So this is an example of how you close, how the data is locked in by the close of the candle. So you don't look at the higher time frames with the ultimate. You try to maintain the 4-hour and below idea, but it's looking above as well. But those time frames move slowly anyway, so but this thinning hourly cloud is a very good sign for a long with all of the confluences here. Hopefully we get something in the next 3 minutes, but we'll have an update with B. So we'll make the third video in the series about B, and hopefully we'll have a future update from this point. So this is the baselines in action. You're seeing the baselines hold the price. It's almost like it's guiding it. And then the cloud is also starting to get thin, starting to get a thinning. We're reaching for that reversal zone. I'd be shocked if we don't at least go up to here. Interesting, right? Seeing how the baselines hold the price action as the candles close. One more minute and then we'll call it a close for the video. Once again, this was how to read the signals for Momentum Master A and also how to instantiate it. I hope you found this informative, and please leave a like, and thank you very much. Peace.